To begin describing the specialized regions of the brain involved in various behaviors, we'll begin with the hindbrain, which controls the most basic functions of life. First, there's the medulla, the region of the brain that adjoins the spinal cord. The medulla controls for breathing, heart rate, blood circulation, and balance. Above the medulla is the pons. The pons controls attentiveness and the timing of sleep and dreaming. Damage to certain parts of the pons can put a person into a semi-permanent sleep-like state. Additionally, REM sleep may also originate in the pons. Inside the pons in the medulla lies portions of the reticular formation, a network of nerves extending from the spinal cord right up through the thalamus. The reticular formation plays a role in autonomic functions of the body, like circulation, respiration, and digestion, but also in pain modulation, sleep, and consciousness. Sitting on top of the pons is the midbrain. This structure helps orient an organism in the environment and guide movement toward or away from stimuli. The midbrain is also believed to help regulate our experience of pain, modulate mood, and shape motivation. Just behind the pons and medulla is the cerebellum. The cerebellum coordinates voluntary movements such as posture, balance, and coordination, resulting in smooth and balanced muscular activity. Damage to this organ can cause problems in spatial reasoning, discriminating sounds, and integrating input received from various sensory systems. More recent evidence suggests that the cerebellum may also help us judge time, modulate our emotions, and even discriminate sounds and textures. Next, the forebrain is made up of brain structures including the thalamus, hypothalamus, amygdala, hippocampus, and cerebral cortex. The thalamus is involved in sleep, wakefulness, and in relaying motor and sensory signals to the cortex. The thalamus also closes pathways of incoming sensations during sleep. The hypothalamus is positioned underneath the thalamus. It has been found to be involved in controlling motivated behaviors such as eating, drinking, and sexual activity, as well as involuntary rhythms such as the sleep-wake cycle and detecting when the body is too cold or too hot. The amygdala is believed to play a role in emotional response, specifically anger, and it is involved in determining whether a stimulus is a threat or not. It helps predict when something frightening is about to happen. The amygdala is particularly active, for instance, when playing video games or seeing fearful faces. Nearby, the hippocampus plays an important role in learning, memory, spatial orientation, and creating new memories. Of all these varied and crucial roles that these many brain regions play, it's the cerebral cortex that receives the most careful consideration and study among behavioral neuroscientists. In fact, the cortex is involved in every thought and perception, as well as our ability to produce and understand language, and to construct and experience emotion. It is crucial in order to believe, organize, remember, and even to hope. Structurally, the cortex is a thin covering on the outer surface of the brain, on average, just 3 millimeters thick. Still, the cortex makes up approximately 80% of the human brain. This enormous volume is made possible by the fact that the cortex consists of a very large sheet of tissue, crumpled up into the limited space inside the skull. This crumpling produces the brain's most obvious visual feature, the wrinkles. Some of the wrinkles are actually deep grooves that divide the brain into different anatomical sections. The deepest groove is the longitudinal fissure, dividing the brain into two halves, the left and the right cerebral hemispheres, which are connected through a thick band of fibers called the corpus callosum. The corpus callosum allows communication between the two hemispheres of the brain. It is responsible for transmitting neural messages between both the right and the left hemispheres. The right hemisphere controls muscles on the left side of the body, and the left hemisphere controls muscles on the right side of the body. This is also true of sensory information. Sensory information from the left side of the body crosses the corpus callosum for processing in the right hemisphere, while information from the right side of the body crosses to the left hemisphere for processing. Therefore, damage to one side of the brain will affect the opposite side of the body.